Have you ever said trust the process and asked yourself what it actually means? Like, actually wonder what does it mean to trust the process? For a while, I've never been okay with this term, especially someone who's very pedantic about their work. And it's usually said in like a work setting or maybe even in life. But for a long time, I felt like it meant I have to now be a spectator and just let whatever needs to happen happen. And yeah, that has given me a lot of anxiety. It's just thinking about letting go, basically. And I think I'm going through a process right now where I'm starting to understand what that means. Because I asked myself that question actually, and I had to really dig deep in a way to kind of understand what does it mean, right? So my name is Crowley, by the way. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Crowley, and I'm here to ask questions. That's why I'm here. So I had to break down. The first thing I did was to break down what does trust mean, and here I have trust is believing in something you don't fully understand, letting go of the need for certainty. It's kind of like faith, isn't it? The substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. Hebrews 11:11, I think. Or Hebrews 11:1. Yeah, it's almost like to believe without receipts. And that's scary. At least it's scary to me. I don't know about you, but to really believe in something you don't fully understand, that I don't fully understand, has been hard. And a long time I spend trying to understand the process or the outcome before I actually engage. But that has landed me in a very stagnant position, but we'll get into that, right? And then, secondly, I had to break down what is process. So, process is steps, it's the mess, it's the unknown. It's more like the journey than it is the outcome. Right now, I'm at a point where it's requiring that I trust the process, that I take the leap of faith. Almost courage is required in my curiosity. Just felt something there. I'm being called into that. I'm facing the same situation over and over again, and it's as if I'm being asked, will I choose differently this time? Will I choose differently this time? Um, yeah, I can't see the outcome, and or rather, I know of the outcome if I don't engage, and for some time in that trusting the process, I've sort of ejected myself in the process, and then I deal with the repercussions later. It's like I don't want the accountability. I would rather let the thing do itself by itself, and then I'll come back to clean the mess. But that has landed me in the same position over and over and over again. And that's why I feel like I'm being faced with the question, will I choose differently this time? I'm going through a phase where I need to learn to take the small steps guided by the curiosity. but I need the courage. My prayer this whole year has been, Lord, give me courage. I am courage. I have courage. Funny because my name Crowley actually means courage. Um, Definition, if you Google it, I mean, it's infamous for some other stuff, um, but it means a descendant of a warrior. And a warrior has courage, to really put on that armor and go into battle. And right now, my battle is in my head. The battle is in my head. It's World War Me, and I'm being called into courage, to have faith, to really trust the process. And in the old fashioned, I try to, this is me trying to understand the process, but at the same time, in trying to understand it, I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. I'm trying to understand something. I'm trying to have receipts before I do it. And that has landed me stagnant. Even with ideas, I have two polarizing ideas. You're like, oh, okay, maybe let me map this one out fully, create roadmaps so I can see the vision before I fully commit. But that's not living. That's not a life of curiosity and courage, to always be seeking certainty. I begin to think in the notes that I have here, even about how I make coffee every day. And I guess a lot of people do around the world as we make our morning coffee every day. We do the measurements, we heat up the water. Do we even know how those things happen? Obviously, I've studied coffee, or some people have, and there's coffee aficionados out there that can tell you the whole process. But in the everyday act, to really go on the stove or the kettle to heat up that water or to press that espresso machine, that's trusting the process. That's saying, I know if I put this amount of water in here, this capsule, this amount of sugar, if I start mixing, something will happen, something needs to happen, and then it would be eventually the outcome that I'm looking for. And sometimes it's never the same. Sometimes you experiment in the morning and you're like, maybe 6 spoons of coffee today, or none today, or let me have it with milk today, let me have it with an orange or a pineapple. But that's trusting the process, Paul. That's trusting the process, Crowley. That daily act, to just know that if I do this, this will happen. I began one day that when I mix, I've been surviving on instant coffee this year, actually, because most of my equipment is still in Pumalanga. I moved. Story for another day. But yeah, I've been surviving on instant coffee, and it's been so fun experimenting with it and appreciating it as well as a coffee. Long time, especially once I became like a coffee aficionado and founded Coffee Crowley. I was kind of like, instant coffee, it's not coffee. I was part of those people. Still love you. Yeah, all of us are still lovers of coffee, regardless. But yeah, back to the process. It's really like trusting the process isn't about knowing the outcome. It's about stepping forward and staying curious and staying courageous. That's what I'm learning right now. Even with recording these. Something that has been in my mind for a long time. I've done a couple, haven't posted any, and I'm like, I don't trust the process. I want to fully map out this thing and have 300 million videos before I post. And even I'm like, also, where is it gonna come from without the data of actually even doing the actual action? And as I was saying earlier, that trusting the process, at first I thought it's me ejecting myself out of the process and then trusting it, but I'm learning that trusting the process is in and of itself, myself being in the process and allowing myself to be in the process, to be uncomfortable in the process as well. Faith is not the absence of doubt, but it is the action, even in the doubt. And sometimes, hey, it won't work out. But that's what courage is. It's almost like being in a maze and you sometimes hit a wall and you go in the wrong direction, but you'll never know that's not the correct direction if you don't make a move, Crowley. You won't know. You won't experience that moment of, oh, I need to go the other way. If I don't go at all, that's what I'm learning right now, that I've been so stagnant because I want to figure out this maze perfectly before I move. But God is saying you need to move. You need to move, and even in the wrong decision that you make, I will be with you. When you hit that wall, it's redirection. I wrote here that it's about pressing start or continue day after day, again and again, even when it feels uncertain. Even when it feels uncertain. To believe without receipts. Question I have for you today is, what's that one idea you've had that you hesitate to start simply because you don't see the full vision yet? What's that one step you're afraid to take because you don't see the full path yet? For me, it's this. And I hope to honor my word, stay courageous and curious. Yeah, my only hope right now is that you do too. So will you.